Hello world, this is Edward Bevilacqua, and I have the good fortune of being here with George Bugatti, who took the time out of his day on very short notice to meet with us. And I think it's even more special. We're going to talk about it because of the Riviera thing, the big event.
Anything you wanted.
So George, thank you for taking the time to talk to Ciao Tutti and the members of the club and Italian Americans everywhere.
Thanks for asking me.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. This is kind of funny because what did we spend about 10 minutes trying to figure out exactly your roots? So let's go through your Italian roots again.
I'm exhausted from the last time. Just a preamble to this thing. We've been here since 6 this morning.
Yeah, 6 this morning trying to figure it out. Where's the sheet of paper anyway that we wrote down?
All the notes. That's right. Well, I'm Italian Lebanese.
Okay.
And
so that's really Phoenician, back in ancient times.
Yeah.
When we're all Roman citizens.
Sure.
Okay.
At one time or another.
Yeah. Okay.
And my father is from outside of Rome. My grandfather.
So speaking about that, one of the things they say about people from Rome is they still think that Rome is the center of the world. And do you think that's true?
It's not. It's a perfect setup. What else?
Exactly. Yeah, that's perfect.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
You've been hanging around Nelson too long.
Yes.
Okay. So have you been to Rome?
I was in Rome a long time ago, probably more than 20 years ago.
Okay. Did you feel anything special? It's genetic, like this is where my people, my Italian people.
It felt warm. It felt wonderful, exciting. I wasn't there long enough. I mean, I think about it. Reincarnation?
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Like, did you envision yourself walking down the streets 2,000 years ago?
I have to tell you, it felt so comfortable. It really did feel comfortable, and I think about it a lot. As a matter of fact, my wife and I are talking about a trip, and we don't know when, but an extended trip. Not just. I said to her, it's funny that you bring this up, and we didn't talk about this in the preambles.
Unscripted.
No. That I just don't want to go for a week. I don't want to go for. I want to go for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And I really feel like I want to explore the area now more so than ever. I don't know why that came over me.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
But it's a real thing. Yeah.
So your grandfather, your Italian grandfather, led it. Sounds like a very interesting life.
I didn't know him.
Real cosmopolitan person.
Yeah. I don't know if it was cosmopolitan.
Well, world traveler.
World traveler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Not like the cosmo.
Gypsy. I don't know.
You said it.
He got around.
You said it. Okay. And he was a horse trader?
Yeah, he was a horse trader. That's right.
Okay.
As was my dad.
And he ended up in
British Honduras.
British Honduras at that time. And that's where he met.
Oh, you mean my father?
No, your grandfather.
My grandfather was in Lebanon and met
your grandmother.
My grandmother.
Okay, and they then both went to British Honduras.
That's right.
See, this is why we have notes.
We got to check the notes.
Yeah. Really good. So they ended up in British Honduras.
That's right.
Trading horses and other things, whatever.
Other things.
Okay.
Whatever.
Okay, whatever.
iPads,
Right, exactly, the iPad of the day. And
the abacus.
Exactly, right, yes, right. So, and then your dad was born.
Yeah.
And he ultimately married a Lebanese girl who had roots in British Honduras.
Correct.
Okay. And what brought them to the U.S.? Just fast forwarding. Opportunity.
Very good. Okay. That's it. Wow. You knew my family.
I did. We do our background checks here. So they came to the U.S. and went to...
They actually went to St. Louis.
Oh.
Or St. Louis. How do you say it? You say
I think it depends, where you're from.
St. Louis, yeah. They went to, that's where they landed. I knew that. They did not land in New York like a lot of. I mean, maybe they came through New York, but I know, and I don't know why, but I know that they were there for a spell.
Okay.
And then eventually came to New York.
And what part of New York?
Downtown Brooklyn.
Downtown Brooklyn.
It's
what was the area?
Yeah. Cobble Hill, Brooklyn Heights, which is adjacent to the Little Italy there, which for those of you who out there, hello. Sackett Street, President Street, DeGraw Street, a very rich, a diverse community, but predominantly Italian.
Okay.
But there were, New York was really a melting pot. I grew up with, my friends going to school. I went to a Catholic school.
Which
was? St. Peter's.
St. Peter's, okay.
There was St. Peter's and St. Paul. They merged with St. Paul's.
Ah.
It was a thing that they did in the diocese.
Was there any debate about which one's name is going to be first? St. Paul and
It was St. Peter's and St. Paul. St.
Okay,
Peter
but
and Paul.
there wasn't a dispute about, well, St. Paul's is a better school.
There might have been. They found bodies, but I don't know.
Different story.
Different story.
Different story, okay.
Yeah, I went to school there. My friends were, Cuban and Puerto Rican and Italians and Irish and German, and it was really a melting pot in this,
Many Lebanese?
little area. A few.
Okay.
A few,
All right.
not many.
Okay. And by this time, you were already playing the piano.
Yeah. Yeah, I started at age 5.
Age 5, wow. And how did that come about?
I was at, my parents were at Macy's department store,
Okay.
and the biggest store in the world.
Sure.
In the Voil.
Yeah.
And where does the Yiddish come in? What does that have to do with this?
It's part of your world traveler.
That's right. My grandfather probably.
He had to get by.
And I got lost.
Oh.
And, for a kid to be lost, I mean, in a store at any time, it was, traumatic, so they called security. They found me in the piano department banging on pianos.
Oh, do you remember that?
No.
Okay.
I remember the ass whooping I got.
Right.
Can I say whooping?
You can say whooping.
Okay,
yes.
very good. My father took this as, hey, he likes the piano.
Huh.
Let's get him piano lessons. So they bought me a big Aeolian.
At Macy's that day or later?
No, later.
Okay.
Later. I don't know where they got it from.
Okay. Trading.
Horse for a piano. It could have been.
Okay.
And all I knew is that the smell was gone, and I had a piano.
Got it.
It's obtuse. Forget it.
I got it. No, it's clear to me.
Thank you. You all get it? So I had this huge Aeolian piano.
Okay.
That's
a brand?
That's a brand.
Okay.
But it was huge, the huge upright ones.
Okay, right.
And that was my first piano, and they gave me piano lessons.
So do you remember the first day they brought it in? You got to play with it?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
That I remember, because in New York, you can't bring things up the stairs if they're too big. It was a spectacle in the neighborhood, because what they have to do is they have to hoist it through the window outside in the streets, and they have the 2 big men down there and the 2 big men up there, and they put the hooks on and they put it in a harness and ropes, and this thing came up the street.
So they have big windows.
No, they had to remove the window frame.
Oh wow.
They had to remove the window frame. They were normal size.
So your parents were committed.
Then eventually they were. How you keep giving me these these open windows that just jump through?
I tried. So, and what about when it got set up? It was like you were like George knows back. Wait, we're not ready yet.
No, you know what I remember? I remember it being special.
Mm.
And now that you bring this up, because I haven't thought about this honestly in a long time.
Okay.
That might have been the beginning of it. Just everything around it seemed special. The attention in the neighborhood, the people. I mean, people knew in the whole neighborhood. It wasn't every day somebody got a piano hoisted up through the window.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So that became a double-edged sword, because the kids, there was bullying and stuff that went on with that. But that's another interview.
Yeah. Different.
Another time. Another magazine.
But so, and was that your kind of solace when you would come home from school? Go play the piano?
In the beginning.
Okay, then it became a job,
Oh.
and then you had to practice.
Of course, my mother literally with the ruler sitting there, and
oh really?
Well, she was really good. She really, that's why I like whippings today. See,
now
whooping before. Remember when I said that? That was a key into my psyche.
Okay, I'm gonna program that in. So we'll see how many times you say that the rest of the interview. So now, what's that TikTok thing called?
The metronome.
Yeah, and so you use that.
Yes.
What is that?
Absolutely.
What does that do?
It keeps time.
Well, I sort of got that.
It keeps the musician on a meter. And so what happens is
so you don't go too fast,
so you don't go too fast or too slow. And if something is, you work with it, and in the fundamental stages of learning.
Okay.
You as a musician, you learn to keep time.
Okay. So
be, scattered as far as the meter is concerned.
Okay, so does that have anything to do with, like, you're looking in the songbook at church, and in the beginning it has those bars, and it says 3/4, 4/4. Does that have anything to do with that?
No.
Oh, it's totally different.
No.
Okay.
Do you want to? We can have a lesson afterwards. We'll go.
No,
it's really basically the speed of the tune.
So you just learn.
There's allegro. If it's faster, if it's slower, if it's a moderate tempo, and then.
But some songs seem like they start out slow and they pick up, right? And
well,
those
will be arranged that way.
Right.
So it's a specific arrangement, and
then you have the metronome thing is still in your mind or whatever.
Within the context of that movement in the piece.
I see. Okay. So obviously I don't exactly. Obviously, I'm trying to figure out how to get off this. I'm trying to.
Well, music is Italian.
It is very Italian.
It's very musical.
Okay, but now you started as a classical pianist.
Mm-hmm.
And your choice, parents, it's just that's how they did it back then?
I think that's what they did. I mean, those are the fundamentals.
Okay.
Which, you know what? Pardon me. I have this. It's this thing, and I have to turn it off. Which apparently my parents didn't teach me how to not be rude. They didn't expect these damn things to enter our lives.
Exactly. They didn't have those back then. So classical.
That's the way you went. And I think any craft that you learn, you learn. I mean, even in theater, you learn.
But did you kind of like to sneak off and do Billy Joel type stuff by ear?
I mean, eventually. I mean, that was a few years later.
So,
but
Jerry Lee Lewis?
No. I pretty much stuck to the classics.
Okay. Come home from school, practice.
Yeah, I mean, eventually I did, but the work was so, I progressed to a level where I was doing what they call juries or recitals and competitions.
Okay,
so to prepare for those, I was putting in a couple of hours a day in addition to schoolwork. And when you come home from school at 3:30, there's not much, and you're going to bed at 8 or 9 o'clock. There's not much time in the day.
Sure.
So it was hard practice and the discipline.
And how much of that do you have to memorize?
All of it.
So even though you're flipping the pages, you still.
Well, eventually you get to a point where you're not flipping the pages.
Got it. All right. Okay. So it's, as you just said, you memorize it.
You memorize it.
Okay.
And you would work on something for months.
And do you find that you have a good memory?
Okay.
Okay. You don't recognize that you have a better memory than most people.
I've never really.
Okay. You're unaware.
I'm unaware, which my wife would tell you. Covers a lot of my life. He's unaware.
Okay.
That's a joke, honey. You're really lovely. No, she is. I've just gotten myself in a huge amount of trouble.
Now, is she Irish? What is your wife?
My wife is German. You met her briefly.
Yeah.
Her background, she's American, but her background is German, Polish, maybe Dutch.
Okay. Sort of Central European. Well, Western Central.
A white woman.
Yeah.
Opposed to me, who's olive.
Yes, right.
Olive oil on there and some seasoning.
So then something happened in your life that changed your musical direction.
Yes. I had, you gonna bring that up?
I have to.
I had an injury in my hand. I lost all the movement and feeling in my right hand.
So were you out on your own? Because you said you're early 20s?
Yes, I had actually maybe just had my apartment a year and a half. And in those pre-war buildings, they have the incinerators, and somebody had left garbage in there. And I pushed it down to make room for my garbage. And I felt like I didn't know. At first I thought, what am I standing on, an open wire or something? Because I felt electrical current going through my body. And then I saw the blood spurting out. I mean, you may want to have the kids go to bed at this point. And I just held it, and the ambulance came. And anyway, bottom line is I had to have microsurgery, the early days of microsurgery. And he explained to me that the median nerve is like a telephone cable. You can maybe attach the cable, but there are thousands of filaments inside that you have no idea where they're going to land. And I did, and the doctor told me, he says, you'll never play again. And I remember that, sitting at the 59th Street Hand Surgery Center, sitting there and having him say those words.
What did you say? Did you say to yourself, no way, he's wrong?
Of course.
You're wrong.
Instantly, that defense came up in my mind.
Okay.
And he wasn't wrong. But what I have to say is that, and what's funny, because you pick on this not pick on it, but it's a common thread that you find with, I think, old world generation, is that discipline and the hard work thing, which I definitely got from my parents.
Yeah.
Who couldn't have gotten it anywhere else. I stuck with, even when I was in a cast for 6 months.
Wow.
The first month was in this position, and then the second month like that, and then like that,
and
you
then couldn't do any of this.
The doctor told me not to.
Don't
but
do anything.
Even with the cast, I went to the piano and I started.
Oh, really?
I started working, and I thought to myself, where am I going to go where musical palates aren't as discerning? Well, let's go to a place where people are drunk all the time. What?
No, go ahead.
Somebody said to me, get a job on a cruise ship.
Oh, okay, good.
And so, what do you think I was going to say, Las Vegas?
No, I think I'm going to say LA.
Oh, no.
I knew you weren't going to say Las Vegas.
I love LA.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cruise ship.
Cruise ship.
And did you do that?
That left from LA. No. No. I did that. I literally got on the phone, and within 2 weeks, I was booked on a ship. The cast had just come off my hand.
Wow.
And that's where I started learning. I went with fake books because I could read music, and I was on the job training, and I didn't know how to sing, but I faked it all the way.
Wow.
And I worked from like 10 to 2 in the morning, 10 p.m. to 2 in the morning, and it was just as I thought.
Where did the ship? Was it like Florida?
Yeah, I left out of Fort Lauderdale, and we went down to Cozumel and Grand Cayman. And
how long did you do that?
I was 3 months, 4 months, 3 months.
Okay.
And I learned a lot of songs. I learned the wrong changes to a lot of songs, but
what does that mean?
Meaning the incorrect chords. But at the time, I was really only
I
using.
know nothing about music, so when you say chords, I'm thinking pants.
No, it was. That's funny. Put that one down. I was really basically using my left hand. I developed a really good left hand, and I learned how to play key bass.
But that's when you use for chords, right?
I know I use the right hand, but we'll use both.
Most people.
And so you use both.
Okay. I don't know anything about music.
Yeah. Okay. But I was also using the right hand for block chords.
Okay.
Just not a lot of facility.
Okay.
But I was using the left hand for that, and I was learning to sing and singing songs and learning lyrics, and that's what I did. And shortly after that, I moved to Los Angeles. So where did this is just one continue. You asked me about the thing that happened.
Yeah, no, but it's how you took what you got from your parents. Your love, your passion was playing the piano.
Mm-hmm.
Unforeseen event comes in, doesn't really derail you, but sends you on a probably even better trajectory, right?
I don't know about better.
Okay.
I certainly love the life I have now, and I love the songs that I sing.
Okay.
I love the lyrics.
Don't you like singing more than just playing?
I love both.
Okay.
I love
now,
both
could you have been a
equally.
singer as a classical pianist?
No.
Right. I mean, I don't know, but I don't.
I mean, I wasn't an opera. That wasn't my life. My life was strictly as a long-haired classical pianist.
Okay. The hard stuff.
The hard stuff. The Beethoven, the Bach, the Schumann, Paganini. All those great.
And you loved it, and it obviously enriched you. And did that help you when you became a singer?
Sure.
Having that kind of.
Well, the discipline that you apply, just like in sports, where
sure.
Discipline is discipline. Breaking it apart and doing the dirty work.
Yeah.
Is where it's at, no matter what you're doing.
Just pushing through when you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And then ultimately you don't even think about. Yeah. Ultimately
Discipline
you don't even
/
think
commitment.
about. Gosh, do I not want to do this anymore? Those thoughts, you just do it.
Well, the only time that ever came up for me was when I was in elementary school at the end and about to apply for high schools.
Uh-huh.
And I had learned about the high school performing arts, but I had learned about other schools as well. And that was the point in my life where the decision had to be made because I sort of knew innately.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this. I thought if I go on this path, this is it. This decision.
You go to a music high school.
That's right.
Okay.
That's going to be the
That's
path
the-
that I take because that will lead to college and lead to a career, et cetera, et cetera.
Got it.
But I had entertained very briefly because I also love science. I love the sciences. I had applied to Brooklyn Technical High School.
Okay.
And,
Wow. So
yeah.
you had two extremes.
And the Bronx High School of Science.
Okay. So you could have gone science or art.
Yeah.
Music.
And I chose art.
And that has made all the difference.
It's the life I have, and I love my life.
Okay.
But my spare time is spent, looking up. I love astronomy, and I love research.
Dark matter.
Absolutely.
Cosmology.
Yeah.
Okay.
I went to that when I was in New York. Went to the planetarium.
Okay.
I saw there was an exhibit called Dark Matter.
Really?
Or Dark Universe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So dark energy, etc.
Sure.
Okay. So, and now what was that about? So you got off the cruise ship circuit, sort of. I'm going to call it the circuit.
Sure.
It wasn't the circuit. And so that was like what 5 years ago?
No.
I'm kidding.
You got me. That was, my goodness, in the '80s, in the middle '80s,
Okay.
I guess.
Well, I remember you saying you've been here since '98.
Yeah, '98.
So 17 years.
Previous to this, I was in Los Angeles. For
Yeah. Yeah. How long were you
a
there?
number of years. I was there from, I think, 88, 89.
Okay. So
87,
doing live
somewhere
music,
there.
same type of thing you do?
Yeah, it took me about a year to break into that market. But
So
I
it's a
did.
big jump up from the cruise ship.
Oh, sure. But, there were some years in between, and so I really honed it. When I went back to New York, I started working just about every piano bar in New York. All the famous ones, from Don't Tell Mama to Brandy's, 88's,
So
Maria
focus,
Price's.
commitment, this is what I'm going to
This
do.
is what I was doing, yeah.
Okay, that's like Bob Anderson was telling us that when he had the idea for the Frank show, that I think he said 2 years, just every day getting up, watching on his big screens, the Frank, anything he could see, and just getting everything to be just the way it needs to be. And you did that.
Well,
on the real.
I was working. I was just learning a lot of songs. I mean, as a result, that training ground for me, I know well over 2,000 songs a day.
Wow.
I mean, there are still more that I don't know, and I'm surprised all the time.
Uh-huh.
But I know a lot of songs from all genres, But at the time, I was also going to NYU, and I switched majors
To
theater,
Oh.
and I was.
How was that?
And I used that. That was wonderful.
Okay.
And I used that. I use that in my music. I use that in my lyrics. So when I sing a song, I just don't sing the song, words. I do what's called a gist phrase, which is basically the method of acting for singing. And you write down an alternate line of what the lyric means so that it's important to you.
I see.
And then you fantasize on it. You create a story in your mind of something that pops for you.
What's an example of a song?
Example of a song. Let's say I'll Be Seeing You.
Okay.
I'll be seeing you. Okay, you know the two. Everybody. And you write a gist line.
Okay.
Is it raining?
It is
It's
raining.
raining. Trust us, it's raining. It's coming down. This is nice.
It is.
Can we get some tea? Doesn't that feel right? Some tea?
Tea,
right now?
crumpets.
Yeah, crumpets.
You take milk or honey, lemon with your tea.
Depends on the tea. If it's
Good
chamomile,
answer.
just a little lemon.
Okay.
If it's English breakfast,
Yeah.
then
English. Yeah.
or English tea,
Yeah,
the
English
darker
breakfast
tea,
tea, yeah.
then it would have to be a small cream.
Okay.
And some
That's
sugar.
how I do mine too, because it's just too strong. Piano. Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, what the hell were we talking about?
The gist of it.
The gist
of things.
The gist of things. So you would create for I'll Be Seeing You, and all the old familiar places. How does that come alive for me? Well, what's real in my life? I have a daughter that I love very much. What is not real? What is not real, what is the fantasy, is that she has met with a horrible accident. And is either...
So you're thinking this as you're singing
and you're
different words. You're singing the words of the song, but you're thinking...
That's right. And
wow.
you take it all the way. You take it to, was she in an accident? What was the car that hit her?
Okay, so you're...
What hospital is she in?
Okay.
Is she, what are the injuries that she sustained? What has the doctor said to you? I can see how live this is for me.
Right.
I'm getting emotional thinking about it. No, really.
Which is what you need to do.
This is
when you're doing it night after night after night. Right?
You can't. I have to, be completely honest. When I'm doing a 4-hour gig,
yeah,
I can't do every song. I would. They'd have to weep me away in a white coat.
Right. One night
yeah.
thing, and then you'd need to go recuperate.
But if I'm doing a show, or it's an hour and a half show, an hour and a half show, or a concert,
yeah,
then yes, every song gets that treatment.
Okay. And you have certain songs that are probably more meaningful than others.
In different ways.
Okay.
They all have meaning.
So you have to do this for, really, professional people do this for every thing they're doing. It's not just the words and the music.
I think the ones where, craft for me is very important. Because I don't know what talent is, and I doubt very much if I have talent. What I do have is commitment, discipline. I'm always willing to do the work.
Okay. So other people think you have talent. Well, the proof is in the pudding, because you're doing stuff all the time. And you closed down the Riviera. Well, that's not really the right phraseology, right?
They had planned on being in business for another 10 years.
And then
George signed those, and then I came along, and that's it.
Yeah, that's it. We're done. But so you were chosen to be the last one there. That this historic place is going to be forever gone, only in the memories of people. And you were the lucky guy to be chosen.
I have to tell you, I'm very touched that I was. Yeah. It meant a lot to me.
And you were saying it was a big night.
It was a great night.
Very poignant.
Yeah.
Emotional.
Sure. A lot of people. We had a great turnout. And I heard stories from people who, every time they knew that I was doing this, gosh, you have no idea what the Riviera means to me. And they would tell me. Their story of,
sure.
When they had first come to Vegas,
right.
Or, when they would gamble, they would stay there, or they would met their girlfriend there, or a wife there. I mean, all these stories that were popping out, which is really terrific, Now,
what did you say at the end? Like, that's it, folks? Like, at the
very... That's all, folks.
At the very
Bugs
end.
Bunny suit came out.
Yeah. Chased by...
well, I think Coyote or on the front, right.
So
no, the last song was a tune that a terrific singer in town, Justin Olson, had suggested that I sing, and I have to tell you, it's one of those songs that I didn't know.
Okay.
It slipped through the cracks.
Like he said, the night of, this is what you should end with.
Yeah, he said he suggested it because I put a thing out on Facebook.
Okay.
Asking for suggestions for the last song. I got some wonderful suggestions.
But you went with the one you didn't.
And I went with the one that I thought was the most poignant, and it was a tune written. Oh my gosh! And I apologize for not knowing the name of the writer. And he wasn't known as a songwriter. He was known as a comedy writer, and he wrote for a lot of shows, The Love Boat and.
Dick Van Dyke?
No, it wasn't. Okay. Yeah, that's it! Wow!
Rob Ryan?
No,
okay.
it was not a familiar name.
Okay, gotcha.
But he was on a comedy staff writer for a lot of great TV shows, comedy TV shows. And he wrote this song that's called The Final Curtain.
Okay.
Or The Curtain Falls. The Curtain Falls.
Okay.
And I worked on it. Bobby Darin is the version that I'm aware of.
Okay.
I don't know who else has recorded it. I'm sure there have been others, and it was in the Bobby Darin picture, Beyond the Sea.
Oh, okay.
And so I thought the words were terrific.
Okay.
They're just terrific, and that's what mattered, the melody and the lyric.
Okay.
And
how did it come up?
It was, I mean, I felt
People
it.
crying?
I felt it, yeah.
Did you do the gist thing?
Our band, at the end of the evening, people were grateful and gave us all a standing ovation.
Okay.
And the room was full.
And then
Eight
was
people.
there anything at the end?
Um,
Was it like just, okay, it's over, and how you entertainers do things? You
Don't
leave?
let the door hit you in the ass on the way out. That's my Brooklyn coming up. No. It was, I ended the song. I thanked the people very simply.
Uh-huh.
And that was it. That was really it. It was
Okay.
it was done very,
Just
you know. I had entertained thoughts of doing a lot of quote unquote goodbye songs.
Mm.
I'd also thought about maybe leaving the room with an up number and doing, but then at the end of the day, and as a matter of fact, I ran it by Nelson Sardelli, who's a really wonderful guy who's been in show business a long time. And I've always learned, you always, those guys, you learn from them.
Sure.
And he said, no, George, he said, leave it alone.
Finish the song.
Finish your song, let it breathe, and then that's it.
Let it breathe.
And
that means let people absorb it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't need to do anything.
So then the lights go down, or do you walk off and the lights go down? Or
yeah, well, people had come up to the stage, and
okay.
we took a lot of photographs with people. The band, we had some terrific band members with us, and my buddy and my business partner, Sam Arlen, who I mentioned, the composer, Harold Arlen's son, who wrote some wonderful songs, like One for My Baby, One More for the Road, Paper Moon, I've Got the World.
Did you do that one? Did you do those that night?
We did One for My Baby that night. Yeah, sure.
That's about drinking, though, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Not necessarily.
Okay, so when you do the gist of it, what is it? I'm just going to call that the gist of it, because
the gist of it.
I
have to remember on that one. What is it that I do on that one? That one's really personal.
Okay. Got it.
Some of them I can share.
We'll move on. Yeah. I don't want to know all your secrets. Because it takes away the
back when we do this.
Okay. Kind of takes away the potion, the power.
Yeah. Well, it's really personal.
Okay.
And so some of those you just keep, But anyway, so at the end of the night, people were, our great drummer Gary Oles was with us, another sax player Keith Brenneman was with us, and Sam was on sax as well. And we just people were just coming up to us, pouring, up to the stage, and we were probably in the room saying goodbyes for at least another 45 minutes.
Wow, that's strange. That's way beyond typical, right?
I don't know.
So it's way beyond typical.
Sure.
You don't do it.
Yeah, it is.
Now,
usually 5 minutes, everybody's out of there. They put the chairs up on the tables, and the lights are up.
The lights are up. Janitor's in there.
Yeah.
Okay. But now, your picture's always up at the bootlegger that you're performing.
Yes.
Even when you're not there.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So when are you going to be going back soon?
I'm back already.
Good.
I was there this past weekend, Friday and Saturday.
Okay. And how was that?
I love it. It was like coming home, That place, that's another place that has a lot of history, The Riviera was up for 60 years. This place is 47, 48 years.
Yeah. Well, and, Lorraine knows that business too. The entertainment business.
Sure.
And so she's a member of the club, and she's at the club frequently. And I understand from you that because of your work schedule, you don't get to go to the club for dinner.
For dinner.
Yeah.
I go once a month
To Nelson's
Fiore lunch thing, and but
are you going to see Robin Leach?
Absolutely.
That's in June.
I
sent an email out to everybody saying Robin Leach is not in May; it's in June. That Art Ledbetter.
Well, Bob Anderson is the next one.
Is he?
Think. Yeah.
I thought it was Art Ledbetter,
maybe it
the
is.
spy, the FBI guy.
I think it's a co-billing.
Oh, okay.
I think they're doing both.
I did see something about Bob, and his show, I understand, is extended through the end of June.
Yes.
At the Palazzo.
Yeah, which is really fantastic. Yeah. Great people, great conductor. Have you talked to Vinnie Falcone?
I have not talked to Vinnie.
Oh, he's.
Yeah, he's on our list.
Talk about
he was after you.
Please.
Okay. So, Las Vegas, how is it here?
I love it here.
Why?
This is why.
Yeah.
it's been, for me personally, I mean, there are two things. One, I can intellectualize it and take a look at, you know, how, you know, the cost of living is. But for me personally, it's a community that I didn't have in Los Angeles.
Okay. You mean like with Nelson and Marty Allen?
The people that are
other entertainers here.
Sure, that's right.
Guys have been around.
That's right, and even the people on a business level, you know, Lorraine and her husband Dennis, they're supportive.
Yeah, there's a YouTube video with you and Dennis.
Yes.
We didn't use that as the trailer. We used somebody's smartphone at the Riviera closing the last Solvers.
Okay.
So, but and so there's this YouTube of you and Dennis.
Yeah, that was done a few years ago. He's been. I have to tell you, I met Dennis. Of all the people that I know in this town, I've known him the longest.
Longer than Steve Wynn?
Yes.
Really?
Yes,
okay.
Because.
But Steve was partially responsible for you coming here.
Yes.
Or fully responsible.
Wholly responsible.
Okay.
But I knew Dennis when I was years before that, when I used to perform at the Peninsula Hotel in Beverly Hills.
Okay.
Dennis would come down every so often and listen, and was so supportive.
Huh.
And you know, I looked at him as sort of like an older brother.
Sure.
Because he had been there. I mean, he's so credentialed and had hung with the big boys and performed with them. And you know, he was always very supportive. And then when I finally came here, you know, and after he married Lorraine, you know, he's always been, when he had the show, even at that other place. I won't even mention the name anymore. We don't need to mention
it. The other place.
The other place.
The other place or the other place? Which other place?
The first place, not the second place.
Okay, got it.
Because the second place now is really the first place, and
the
first place now we don't talk about it.
Okay, we don't talk about the first place.
But he you know, he always brought me on the shows whenever I had something going on. He's been terrific with me. So that's what I mean about, you know, I feel home. I feel at home.
Okay. Now, do you know Tony Sacco?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, member of the club.
Yeah.
And how about Jerry? You know Jerry Tiffany?
I've never met Jerry Tiffany,
okay,
but I know of him.
So Jerry's from Cleveland. Tony is from Philadelphia. Did you know that?
Yep.
Okay. Where's Dennis from?
Connecticut, I think.
Is he?
I think he's from Connecticut.
Oh, okay. Anybody else here from Brooklyn?
I'm sure there are.
Any entertainers that you run across?
No. Oh. I know Frankie Shinta is from Buffalo, New York.
Okay, yeah. I guess I knew that.
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a community of people that, like you said, do you have lunch with Marty Allen?
Marty and Nelson, and sometimes Dennis Bono shows up, and sometimes Vinnie Falcone shows up, and sometimes Shecky Green shows up.
So is it like a mini Fiore Club when you guys are together?
No, it's more like just lunch with like-minded people.
Okay.
Just people who are good-natured, and it's just a camaraderie sort of a thing. It's just fun. There's no agenda. It's like the Fiore Club. You know, so I guess maybe I'm convinced. It's just like it.
And you
can't tell the difference. You walk in at a Fiore, you walk in at a lunch, and it's the same thing. You go, where am I? I'm at the lunch. I don't know.
You rotate. Who's the guest speaker here today? Is it you or is it you? Okay, so you plan to be here for a while in Las Vegas?
I plan to be here forever. Yeah.
Okay.
This is my home. I mean, entertainers, we always, you know, you go and you travel and you do some work, and I have some other things planned, you know, but those are one-offs.
Yeah.
You know, you go away for a few days, you go away for a week, you know.
Go to Italy
10
for
days.
a couple months.
Yeah, that I want to do. But that's not going to be to work.
Now, okay, so you wouldn't want to work.
No.
But do they do the same type of thing there? Do you know? Do they have?
I really don't know, but I know that, you know, I mean, any place that's sophisticated, and certainly any major city is going to have its you know, jazz areas, and its you know, classical houses, and so yeah, I'm sure there are legitimate venues there where they you know, they appreciate this stuff.
Well, you know, at the word at the club when I said this is who we're doing today, it was wow, great. You know, another fantastic one. Your reputation is as a good guy, in addition to being a good singer, entertainer.
And that's actually the most important thing.
Being a good guy?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. Well,
I think
That's
so.
your reputation.
Well,
And
that's
you probably knew that already.
nice to
but
know.
I'm telling you from the club.
There's a lot of people have things to say about me.
Do they? Like what?
I don't know.
Didn't get you on that. So if I was to say to you, George, sauce or gravy, what would you say?
Gravy.
Gravy. Okay, so you knew exactly what I was saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
And why do you say gravy?
Because that's what we called it.
Okay, and there we go. So thank you very much.
One more.
Okay.
Pasta or spaghetti or macaroni.
Ah, see. So I grew up in the Bay Area in California, and my grandparents were from Italy. My grandmother called it gravy, and I said to my dad, "Why do you call it gravy?" Because when we were brought up, it was sauce. But they called it gravy, and the best he could come up with is if there's meat in it, it's gravy. Because whatever. I think California, it's pasta sauce. More of it. Did you guys call it macaroni?
Macaroni.
Macaroni and gravy.
Not spaghetti, not pasta.
Yeah.
Never pasta. I mean, maybe spaghetti, maybe macaroni. Everything, no matter what it was macaroni.
Okay. Good. I'm going to use that from now on because the last question I usually ask is sauce or gravy. And you were like that, and you brought a new one. So any of these that you watch in the future, the last question will always
Because
be
of me.
It's because of you. It's you.
Because of you, there's a song in my heart. Love that song.
And do you have to prep now? So this is the last question.
Okay.
Is it important to be able to sing a cappella to be an entertainer?
Wow. I don't know if it's important or prerequisite. I think certainly to be able to carry a tune and stay on tune without musical accompaniment can be a benefit.
A benefit, but not a necessity.
I don't know. I honestly say I don't know.
Okay. My hunch is that nowadays the need to be able to sing a cappella is becoming less and less because technology is getting so good, right?
I think it's
You don't really need to know how to sing.
I think it's that's enough. That's a whole. Don't get me started.
Okay.
But
that's the third interview.
That's the third interview. But I know that in my shows there's at least one song. And when I was in New York, I did something, and there's a Richard Rodgers tune called "I Do Not Know a Day I Did Not Love You," and I do the first 8 bars of that a cappella.
Okay, 8 bars is what? Is that those things?
It's this much.
Okay.
Didn't see that.
Okay.
8 measures. Work.
So for our audience out there that knows what that means, that has meaning.
Yeah. So I mean,
is it like on the page where there's 8 of these things?
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bar. It's so you have a measure and then a black mark that comes down.
Okay.
And then that means either you've got 4 beats in it or 2 beats or 3 beats, depending on what the time signature says. Okay. Remember the thing you started?
The metronome.
The 3/4.
Yes, right.
4/4 came. See how he brought that around. It's good.
This is my plan.
I don't know. I don't know. I would think that any schooled, any good musician would be able to.
Okay.
So.
Well, with that, we're going to end it. And again, thank you, world, for being there. Thank you very much, George.
Thank you very much.
Great.
Thank you.
And we say,
Arrivederci.
okay. Well, that's all, folks.